Whatever you need to do, make sure that you release the invisible brake. Because if you don't release the brake, you're going to be driving down the road with a lot of friction, and that's going to prevent you and certainly slow you down from reaching your goals. So whatever you need to do, whether it's talk to me or talk to one of my coaches, but let's get that invisible brake off so you can skyrocket to your goals 10 times faster.
Hey, you're listening to Cracking the Code, the podcast for leaders building and growing service-based businesses. If you are in legal or medical or financial services, if you have letters behind your name that qualify you to do what you do for a living, you are in the right place. I am your host, Rob Riggs, here to bring you intel and access that are designed to decode how technology can be and should be impacting your growth. All right, let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Cracking the Code. Today's guest is somebody who's worked behind the scenes with Fortune 500 executives, billionaire CEOs, and professional athletes, helping them add over $3 billion in results. But what makes Dr. Noah St. John different? He's not teaching people to work harder. He's teaching them to remove what he calls the invisible brake. Dr. Noah St. John, thank you so much for being here. And why don't you take a minute and tell us about yourself for those who may not know you?
Well, absolutely. Thanks, Rob. It's great to be here. Yes, my name is Dr. Noah St. John. I'm known worldwide as the Neural Performance Architect, which is a really fancy way of saying I help people take the brakes off, right? So I'm, as you mentioned, I'm known for helping people, my clients, add over $3 billion. I've been doing this since 1997. So we have 30 years of results, helping people add 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. I'm actually helping one of my coaching clients through a 9-figure exit right now. He's going to be doing that. So anyway, it's really exciting, a lot of fun. I get to work with and coach a lot of great people, like yourself, and meet a lot of people. I also do keynote speeches where I talk about AI and leadership and sales and helping people to release the invisible brake. In fact, I just did a TEDx talk on that very topic.
Nice.
So that's what I do, and I'm excited to be here.
Congrats, man. So let's start with the obvious question, I guess. What? So you're a legit doctor. What did you get your doctorate in? Could you tell us about your education?
Yeah. Yes, I have a PhD in pastoral counseling psychology. So at one point I thought I might be a pastor or a minister, but God had other ideas. And I kind of wanted a bigger flock, shall we say, than just being in one church all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I wanted the world to be my church, if you will. So anyway, I get to travel around a lot. My wife and I, we travel all around the world where I'm doing keynote speeches, presentations for teams, organizations, companies all around the world, live and virtually. So I've written 27 books on this subject of releasing the invisible brake. In fact, I'm the only author in history that's had works published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Mind Valley, Nightingale Conant, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. No one else has ever done that. But I'd rather not talk about me. I'd rather talk about my clients. I'd rather talk about the results that I help people get. Especially nowadays, when we're looking at AI and a lot of people feeling a lot of fear around that, a lot of trepidation, a lot of confusion. And, so that's certainly one thing I'm helping people manage right now. Along with, releasing the invisible brake. So yeah, that's what I do.
Sure. So let's dive into that a minute. You've got the invisible brake, and this suggests to me kind of the friction of going through the life and the effort that we're pushing hard. We're trying to accomplish something, and it just feels like something is pulling us back or keeping us from moving forward. Could you talk through what you're seeing most frequently is causing something like that?
Absolutely. So for everyone listening to the program, I want you to think about your goals, right? Think about what it is that you want. Now, you've heard a billion times that every motivational speaker on the planet says, you got to set your goals and think positive and work hard and hustle and grind. We've heard that a million times. Now, there's nothing wrong with goals, but the problem is what they teach. The problem is they're leaving out half of the equation. And in fact, they're leaving out the most important half. And what I mean by that is people are always telling us to set our goals. And that is important, right? We humans are goal-oriented organisms. We're always thinking about what do we want, whether it's to make more money, to grow our business, to scale our business, to sell our business, right? Or to lose weight, to find love, to have a happy marriage. So it's not just about money, it's about all the different things that we humans want. And so
Right.
the point is, we're always setting goals, we're always thinking about that. And it's very important. But the problem is what we haven't been we haven't been taught enough is what happens after you set the goal. So here's what I have found in 30 years of coaching my clients and helping them make over $3 billion. It's actually not the goal that's the most important. It's what happens after you set the goal. Now, here's what I mean.
Sure.
So let's say you have a goal, which is I want to make more money. Well, no kidding. Everybody does, right? And so the point is, number one, that's not clear enough, right? So if you're just saying, hey, Noah, I want more money. Okay, here's $5. Go away. No, you gotta get a lot more clear than that. Number one, that's very important. So how much, do you want to go from making 100,000 to a million to 5 million, 5 million to 10 million, 10 million to 100 million? I've helped people make all of those transitions and more. So whatever it is, you got to be very specific. That's point number one. But here's where it gets really interesting. And that is what happens after you set that specific goal. So let's just say you want to go from making a million to 5 million. Let's just say that, very common, right?
Okay.
So you're at a million and maybe you've been grinding for a while and you're hustling really hard and you got to a million, that's great. And well, now you want to get to 5 million. Well, guess what? What happens in the brain is for most people, they set that goal and then they go, nah, I probably can't do it. So they go, well, I want to go from a million to 5 million, but I don't have the time. No, I'm already so busy. I can't do more. I'm already working, 80, 90, 100 hours a week. I can't do more. I never see my kids. I want to, have a life, right? But so to get to that point, I just can't do it. Or they say, I don't have the money. I can't afford it. Or I've tried everything. Oh yeah, I've tried all that before, and people let me down and all this, and you can't find good people. You see, so we have all of these excuses and reasons why you can't reach the thing you just said you wanted. So that's
Right.
what I call the invisible break. Another word that I use is your head trash. Head trash. Head trash is the voice in your head that says, I can't do it because ... And then you just fill in the blank. But what's fascinating about the invisible break is you always make yourself right. You always make yourself right. So if you say, hey, Noah, I want to go from a million to 5 million, but I don't have the time, then you don't have the time. Meanwhile, I can come in and find 1 to 3 hours per day that you're wasting.
Sure.
I can
Yeah.
literally find that time. And, 6 to 8 weeks per year that you're literally wasting and not leveraging. And by the way, I don't mean you should be working all the time. I'm talking about the opposite of that. Right. That's what they're all
Right.
saying. Hustle and grind and, work 27 hours a day. Yeah, good luck with that. But you see what I mean? The point of the example is we always make ourselves right. So this is one instance you actually don't want to be right.
Yeah, fair. So when you're talking about finding, 1 to 3 hours a day, literally, is it what are you finding most frequently? The bad habits? Is it scrolling on TikTok? Is it watching Netflix, etc.? Those kinds of simple things that are easy to cut out rather than learning or working, whatever the case may be.
Well, it's a great point. And yeah, this is absolutely one area that I'm constantly helping my clients with is to find more time because, when you get to a certain level of money isn't as much of a driver or a motivation as time. Really?
Right.
So there's like those 2 points in our business. One is I have more time than money. The other is I have more money than time. Right. So
Right.
we want to get to the balance of I have money and time. Right. So it's actually really hard to do sometimes. My point is that, so let's say, you're at the point where, okay, I've got the money. Now I want my time back. I want my life back. So yeah, one of the things that we do is we take an audit. I call it the invisible break audit. In fact, you can go to my website right now, go to noahstjohn.com and you can actually book an invisible break audit. It's right there. In fact, first you want to get your invisible break score. I show you exactly where the invisible break is. Anyway, noahstjohn.com. It's all right there. It's free. So anyway, we audit and see where you are actually losing time, losing money, so you're not leveraging the things that you already have. So yes, one example is, one of the things that certainly is a big time suck is social media, right? And as you mentioned, Netflix, just TV watching.
Right.
But what happens
Right.
is, and this is fascinating, that a lot of people don't realize that when we're talking about social media as an example, one of the things that I remind my clients about all the time is that those platforms exist to addict you. Their job is to keep you addicted. Now, remember, those platforms are free. Well, when something's free, what does that mean? It means you're the product. It means you and
Absolutely.
we're the product, right? So there's 2 billion people on Facebook. Guess what? That's 2 billion products, and it's called you and me. So how do they make money? They make money by selling your information, your data. And you scroll this and you tap that and you go to there. Oh, okay, we'll show him more ads about that, and so on and so on and so on. So they have engineers, they have psychologists, they have people there to make sure that your brain stays addicted. Now, of course, we have all of these gambling sites. We have all of these sites like Polymarket and things like that, and, so you have literally the most addictive machine ever built called a smartphone with the most addictive behavior known to mankind called gambling. What could possibly go wrong? You know what I mean?
Right.
So there you go. I mean, you talk about a time suck, but also, of course, it's a huge money suck for a lot of unsuspecting people. And they go, oh, look, and oh, gee, I didn't need my life savings. Anyway, you get my point. All right. So these are just simple
Sure.
examples, but, that's one of the things we do in the Invisible Break audit is we actually look at, where is your time being lost and how do we get that back? I'll give you a quick example. I was
Yeah.
working with one of my clients, and I asked them a question that I ask all of my clients when we do the invisible break audit, which is how much do you think it's costing you to still have the invisible break going, to still have this head trash, as I call it? And he said $1 million. He said, no, this is easily costing me $1 million. I said, because he'd been watching my videos, reading my books, and he understood what makes me different. That I'm not
Yeah.
just saying, work harder, work longer, blah, blah, blah. We've heard that. So it's about, leveraging what you already have to get more of what you want. Anyway, so he said $1 million. I said, I tell you what, I will find you $1 million in the next 12 months. Why don't you just give me 10%? Just give me 10% of that million. I'll find you $1 million in 12 months. Does that sound like a good deal? In other words, if you give me $1, I give you $10 back. Is that a good deal? He goes, yeah, that's
Hard
a
to
good
turn
deal.
down.
Right. So
Right.
he did it. He invested 100K to get coaching with me, right? That's 10% of $1 million. So now, as it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I found him 1.8 million in just 10 months.
There
So
you
he gave
go.
me $1 and I gave him $18 back. Is that a good
Right.
deal? No, that's a great deal. And
Right.
to put the cherry on top, he emailed me and he said, "Hey, Noah, guess where I am right now? I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife." He said, "This is a dream I've had for the last 20 years, but I never had the time or the money." He said, "I bought a new RV." He said, "This is a dream I've had. We bought a new RV. I've taken 7 weeks off. We're traveling the country, seeing all the sites." And he said, "I never had the time or money before." So he literally said, "Thank you, Noah, for changing my life." So do you see, for everyone listening, the point of the story is you just don't see where this invisible break is costing you because it's invisible. You don't realize that you're just grinding away on that hamster wheel. So one of the things is when we do the invisible break audit, we actually look at where you are and of course help you get there much faster to reach your goals.
Yeah. Right. Right. Hey, this is Rob Riggs, and I wanted to take just a second to tell you about Code Conspirators, our sponsor here. And we are a technology-focused performance marketing agency serving professional service firms. So that's legal, medical, financial, engineering. If you take a test to do what you do for a living, we help you grow your practice with websites and apps, software, and performance marketing. That's organic, paid ads, retargeting, conversion optimization. And we're also doing a whole host of things with CRM, AI, and automation that's been bringing our clients tremendous value. If you're curious at all, go to codeconspirators.com to learn more. Now back to the show. So where does somebody start at tracking their time? What is so obviously you can break it down 15 minutes at a time with a
Right.
notepad and a
Right.
pen. There are technology tools out there, Clockify and things like that, that are tracking kind of where you're spending your time. But how do you set up your client with like seeing where they're wasting that time?
Well, I mean, I like to keep it simple. And of course, it's very personal for every person. Some people like the old pen and paper, like you mentioned. Some people like apps and things. I mean, I'm just very, in a sense, old school. I hate to use old school when I talk about this, but I'm talking about Google Calendar. Now, some would say
Sure.
Google Calendar is not old school. And I'm like, okay, but it's relatively simple. I mean, everybody listening to this
Yeah.
program has Google Calendar. I know that. So, I mean, so
Right.
what I do is exactly like what you were, mentioning is I do help my clients to block out specific times where they are focused. And see, that's one of the biggest problems is lack of focus. It's not that
Mm.
you don't have time, it's that you haven't learned how to focus. Okay, because
Right.
guess what? What do you, me, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Richard Branson all have in common? We all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? They
Right. Mhm.
more time than you. So why are they a billion times richer than the rest of us? Because they learned how to leverage their time, but more important, their focus. Okay, so time, the irony of that is, see, that's how I show people that time is irrelevant. Time is actually not relevant. It is focus. That's what people are actually missing. So, I mean,
Wow.
I just use good old Google Calendar and I say, all right, let's look at where we need to focus this week. And then we're going to break it down by the day, and then we're going to break it down by the hour. And again, I will reiterate, I am not saying work all the time. I really
Sure,
want to
sure.
hammer that point. I'm the opposite of that.
Yeah,
I'm saying, no,
yeah.
we want to have time where we don't work, where you literally allow your brain to work again, to dream, to go, walk outside, look at the sky, look at the stars. I mean, silly things like that. It sounds silly, but we're so glued to our smartphones that we just forgot that there's a life outside of it sometimes. I mean, it's very common.
Right.
And again, remember,
Right,
they're
right.
the most addictive machines ever built by man. Okay, they're
Sure,
addicting us
sure.
on purpose to sell you more
Yeah.
stuff. So again, my job here, Rob, is to give people's power back, to give them their power back, to just get them to think and realize, wait a minute, I don't have to, let myself be sucked into this thing 24/7. So that's just one simple example of how you can get your life back and literally win back 1 to 3 hours a day without working harder.
That's huge. The oftentimes I'll find myself in the shower or driving or just walking, somewhere, and this is when I don't have my phone in front of me, right?
Right.
But things come to me, all kinds of
Right.
ideas
Exactly.
that don't
Always.
otherwise strike me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I love that point, if I may jump off of that, because the
yeah,
point
please.
is that, yeah, when you're just scrolling mindlessly, whatever, or even flipping channels. Now, believe me, I'm doing this. I have a smartphone, I watch TV,
Sure.
but I have times that I do that. I mean, I enjoy just sitting, watching movies here at home with my wife. We have programs that we enjoy together. And see, that means it's together time. And so I would see that's an example of I'm not working 24/7. You know what I mean? I'm not
Right,
hustling,
right.
grinding like they're teaching. I'm absolutely taking that time and making that time to spend with my wife. And so for those of you who are listening and saying, well, that's sure it's easy for you, Noah, no, it isn't easy for me. I mean, I'm a workaholic. It is absolutely natural for me to just, work, 14, 16, 18 hours a day. But that's not the
Yeah.
life I want anymore. When I was in my 20s, 30s, sure, I would do that. But now that I'm older, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So, I understand there's ebbs and flows in life. But for those listening, if you want your life back, you do have to set it up, because it's not about taking time, it's about making time.
Right. It's got to be intentional, right?
Exactly.
Um, so you talk about the freedom lifestyle formula,
Mhm.
and I'd love for you to dive into that. But what role does technology and automation play in achieving that freedom for service-based business owners?
Well, I love that. And that's a two-part question. Let me answer the second part first. So I'm very, very much into helping my clients automate, all right, especially service providers. So when you go to noahstjohn.com, I just want to point out two things real quick. One is that we have something, a service called Reply First AI. So if you go to replyfirstai.com, that is for service providers, chiropractors, dentists, lawyers, accountants, CPAs, HVAC, pest control, just your typical
Nice.
service-based business. And why is it replyfirstai.com? Because the business that replies first wins. A very simple example. You're a pest control company, and your potential customer is searching Google, pest control near me. And let's say you come up first on Google, they call you. And guess what? It goes to voicemail. Well, as well as I do, people don't like to leave voicemail anymore. What do? They go to your competitor. So that is a scenario that's happening every single day. In fact, right on that page, replyfirstai.com, it will actually, there's a calculator, there's an online calculator that actually show you how much money you're losing right now due to lost calls. So what do? We install a service where very simply somebody calls you, whether it goes to voicemail or it goes to a human, or let's say nobody answers, they get a text back. That potential customer gets a text back within 60 seconds, and it actually will book their appointment with no human interaction. And the beauty of that is we're not displacing any person. Let's say you have a secretary or a receptionist. We're not saying fire your receptionist. No, we're saying, your receptionist is a human being, probably, so they can't work
Right.
24/7. They
Right.
probably need sleep. They need to eat. They need to take time off. No kidding, right? So here's an
Yeah.
AI system and automation that does it in addition to, so it supplements what you already have. It doesn't replace. So that's an example of how we help our clients with automation. All right. But there's so many tools right now, and that's just one simple way to do it. So we are always focused on that. And let me just say something real quick, because what I have found is, let's say you are the person that wants to go from 1 million to 5 million, or 5 million to 10 million. One of the things that we see founders having one of the biggest problems is letting go of that control, is delegating. I'm sure you've seen this a million times. We've seen it a million times. And that is a big problem because guess what? What got you to this point will not get you to the next point. It will not, because there's just you. Now, if you want to make sure that you burn out, keep doing what you're doing. If you would like to have a life, then we want to install this type of automation. So that was the second question. Now let me answer your first question, which is about my freedom lifestyle formula, which dovetails perfectly into what I'm talking about. So my freedom lifestyle formula, by the way, I teach this in my books like Power Habits and other books. Remember, I've written 27. I won't hold them all up.
Sure.
So, my freedom lifestyle formula is very simple. It's 4 elements: time, energy, relationships, and money. Time, energy, relationships, and money. So basically, one of the things that I help my clients discover is, well, where are you in that freedom lifestyle formula? And everyone listening to this program can actually do this right now. Rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 of how stuck or how free or abundant you feel in time, energy, relationships, and money. In other words, I have all the time in the world. 1 to 10. 1 is no, I don't, and 10 is yeah, I do. Time, energy. How do you feel through the day, right? So time is the how you use the time that you have each day, but energy is how you go through your day, right? Is it positive or is it mostly negative? 1 to 10. Same with relationships, scale of 1 to 10, and money, scale of 1 to 10. So everybody listening to this program, everybody listening to the sound of my voice right now can give yourself a rating. Well, if it's 25 or below, we got to get you to the doctor right now. I'm the doctor.
Sure.
So
Right.
go to noahstjohn.com. Take that invisible break score. It's free. Then book your invisible break audit, which is also free at noahstjohn.com.
Nice. Love that. So there is an entire like cottage industry of business coaches promising like quick results, right? And you promise more in 12 weeks than the previous 12 months. What separates like legitimate transformation from just hype that's out there?
Well, 99% of it's hype. Let's put it that way. Because 99% of people in this industry are lying scumbags. Oh, did I say that out loud? Yeah. And I've got the spreadsheet to prove it because I gave these clowns over $700,000, unfortunately, only to find out they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. And so, those of us who are in the vast minority who actually get results for our clients, that's what I'm talking about. And so for everyone listening, and this is exactly how I teach it, and I've been saying it for years, is that you want to look at the results that coach or that mentor has gotten for others. Because what is in the guru space is look at me. Aren't I awesome? Look at my jet. Look at my yacht. Look at my helicopter. Now, look, there's nothing wrong with those things. We all want nice things. And but what does that actually show? It shows that that person is great at making money for themselves. Well, have they helped anyone else is always my question. Have you gotten results for other people? That's why when you go to noahstjohn.com, go to the results page. That should be the first page you go to. And just look at over 250 case studies and real life stories and videos. Watch the videos, right? These are real people, real stories. And so anyway, the point is that's how you can separate it. This is what I've been teaching for years is look at the results they've gotten for others, not just themselves. Because if it's just themselves, you got a guy who's just great at making money for themselves.
Right. Which is not what anybody wants from a coach.
Well,
right?
but that's why they do it, because it's very seductive. It works. Oh, helicopter, yacht. Oh, I want one of those. Yeah. If he's got one, then he can teach me how to do it. Wrong-o, Mary Lou. No, 99 times out of 100, they don't. They're great self-promoters, but they suck at teaching. So that's why you want someone who look, I'm a better teacher than marketer. I'll be the first to admit it. At marketing, I'm okay. At teaching and helping people get results, I'm the best in the world.
There you go. So I know we're coming up on time, but what have we not covered that you think the listeners should hear about what it takes to get what they're looking for out of whatever?
Absolutely. Here's an exercise everybody listening to this program can do in the next 60 seconds. Number one, really do get clear on your goals. All right. This is an exercise I do with my clients all the time. You can all do it right now. Number one, get very clear on your goal. All right. And again, don't say I want more money. No. What is that? What does that look like? Right. 100,000 to 1 million, 1 million to 5 million, whatever. Just so get a number very clearly. Number one. Number two, set yourself a deadline. By when? In the next 12 months, 18 months, 12 weeks, whatever it is. Okay. Now, I'm not saying, make $1 million by next Tuesday in your underwear by doing nothing. I mean, good luck with that. That's what those
Right.
guys on YouTube are saying. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's, we gotta balance being realistic with, having our head in the clouds. What's that old saying? Have your head in the clouds and your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the
Sure.
stars. Casey Kasem. So do that, number one. Number two. And then number three, I want you to really get very clear on what your head trash is. In other words, how much is it costing you to believe you can't do it? I know that sounds weird. It's like, what? What are you saying right now? I'm saying that everyone I've ever coached over the last 30 years and helped them make billions of dollars came to me because they said, I have this big goal, but I don't think I can do it. And by the way, the I don't think I can do it part is usually very subtle. It's very subconscious. It's not going to be like loud. And so you have to get quiet. Another good example of, putting your phone down for a little bit, right? Get quiet,
Yeah.
really journal this and write it down. And, I'll just reiterate, go to noahstjohn.com. That's why I have the invisible break score right there. You can get it in 60 seconds. And I just ask you 10 questions. And it shows you exactly where invisible break is, and then book your free invisible break audit. And then I will literally walk you through that process. Now, I'll be fair, I can only take on a very small number of one-on-one clients every quarter. All right. So, it's first come, first serve, basically. But
Sure.
noahstjohn.com, I have tons of resources there, plus my books and videos and all those things like that. But these are things that everybody listening to this program can do right now, literally in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. Awesome. Dr. Noah, I so appreciate you being on, sharing your insights, and really giving people a leg up in terms of how to get what they're looking for from life. Where can, so you've given your website several times. We'll make sure the link is in the show notes. But if there's one final thought that you'd like to leave people with, what would you say there?
Whatever you need to do, make sure that you release the invisible brake, because if you don't release the brake, you're going to be driving down the road with a lot of friction, and that's going to prevent you and certainly slow you down from reaching your goals. So whatever you need to do, whether it's talk to me or talk to one of my coaches, but let's get that invisible brake off so you can skyrocket to your goals 10 times faster.
There you go. Love it. Thank you so much again for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, great conversation, right? But don't let the episode end here. We have packed the show notes with everything you need to take action. Key takeaways are down there, as well as links to the resources we mentioned in the show. And also grab our assessments. They're the same deep dive analyses that we use with our high-performing clients on a regular basis. And we typically uncover million-dollar opportunities that many firms and practices completely miss on their own. And also remember, every successful firm has started with someone, one person who decided to stop accepting good enough and start demanding exceptional. You can make that decision today. Until next time, we will keep conspiring for your success.